Do liturgical abuses actually damage the faith? So last week's video on liturgical abuses just had a ton of comments, a lot from my channel anyways. And Erin, whom we love on this channel, Erin is very unique. Erin watches all of my videos and she comments on every single video, which is very interesting because based on her comments, it seems as though she's an atheist or an agnostic. It seems as though she doesn't really believe what we're preaching here, and she really challenges our points. So last week in the video on liturgical abuses, she offered a lot of challenges. I think it's best to address this in the context of a video instead of typing out a whole book on in the comments. So I may be paraphrasing here, but one of the commenters said that the liturgical abuses were damaging the faith, and Erin's response was, how can somebody wearing a Grover t-shirt, which was what that video was about, how can somebody wearing that affect what you believe? If you believe in God, shouldn't you always believe in God regardless of whether or not somebody is wearing a Grover shirt or whether Mass is being offered on a high altar? The word faith in the context of that commenter's statement was not my individual faith or his individual faith, an individual's belief, but the faith as a whole, as what we believe and how people joining this faith readily accept it. And to illustrate this, I would like to kind of take religion out of this discussion just to make a simple illustration. So if we have a group, let's say an animal activist group, I love animals, but I don't necessarily believe in all of the things that an animal activist group stands for. But if they were having a meeting, let's say a Wednesday night meeting, and they suddenly started allowing people to join their group and to come to their Wednesday night meeting who didn't necessarily believe in what they teach and what they preach. Let's say they started letting like deer hunters come to their meetings on Wednesday night, and so you are interested in becoming an animal activist, and you come to this meeting on Wednesday night, and you know everybody's being so nice, and you're meeting new friends, and they've got snacks and refreshments, and you go over to the snack table, and there's, you know, I've never been to an animal activist meeting, so I'm totally making this up, but just go with me on this. You know, there's tofu, there's celery, I don't know, but you get down to the end of the aisle, and there's a dude there in the plaid getup, and he's got a platter of deer jerky, and he says, "Yeah, this is fresh. I just shot this one yesterday." If you're interested and you have this enthusiasm for animal rights, then perhaps this encounter is going to maybe cast some doubts for you on the legitimacy of this group, and you might not come back the next week. At the end of the day, that group may not really appear to be what it professes to be. It may not be pure. So I was thinking about this the other day. I was thinking about, you know, how do I express this idea? How do I make this idea super clear? And I just happened to see some kid with this book, and I borrowed this book because, you know, this book, I don't know what the author is trying to do with this book. I don't even want to guess. I think maybe they're trying to teach moral relativism to children. I don't know. It's a book. I'm gonna just kind of give you the synopsis of the book. So it's called Duck Rabbit. So on the cover is this thing, this ugly thing. And as you read the book, you discover that this thing is viewed by one individual as a duck, and another individual views it as a rabbit. And the whole course of the book is them arguing with each other of whether or not it's a duck or a rabbit. And they're making their case because, you see, as Obi-Wan taught us, many of the truths that you cling to greatly depend on your own point of view. So the guy on this side, he sees a bill, and the guy on this side, he sees ears. And they go through, he's going to eat bread, he's going to eat a carrot, and they're arguing, and the whole end of the book comes, and they never really kind of determine whether it's a rabbit or a duck. But how did they accomplish their goal? The way they accomplish their goal is by drawing this very ugly thing that kind of resembles a rabbit and it kind of resembles a duck. But in order for them to appeal to both sides of the issue, the duck guy and the rabbit guy, they had to take away everything about it that was a rabbit, the rabbitness, and everything about it that was the duckness, so that it could appear to be both. But what's left in the end is something that's really too ugly to really be a duck or to really be a rabbit. And so let's say you wanted to get a rabbit as a pet. This probably isn't going to appeal to you, because in your heart, what you think of as a rabbit, what you perceive, what you want, this is not it. This is ugly. I think that makes the case in these organizations, because if you want to become an animal activist and you go there and it's all watered down, it's not what it's supposed to be. I mean, I don't agree with animal activism or some of the things they teach anyways, but I think it's right for them to have a pure organization that represents what they believe. I don't think it should be a watered down, hypocritical organization. I think it should be what it's supposed to be. And I wouldn't be, like a deer hunter and say, okay, let me infiltrate this animal rights organization and bring my deer jerky to their meetings. And, maybe, in a generation or two, I'll convert some hearts and we'll change the whole way this is done. That's dishonest. So now maybe we could bring religion back into the topic, because we are talking about this organization, the Catholic Church. What does the Catholic Church profess? And, obviously there's a whole catechism and creed and everything, but in summation, our belief system is that the infinite God of the universe humbled himself and became small for the purpose of dying for us. The large, immense, infinite creator became a man, that he embraced humility, that he became a slave, that he became something that was too small for him to be, for the sake of dying for us. And joining this religion, becoming this religion, at least the Catholic version of this religion. I know there are other Christian denominations that take a whole nother, twist on this, but becoming Catholic at its heart is us embracing this idea of the big becoming small, of humility, so that we ourselves may also embrace humility, and that in all of the big and small ways in our lives, that we can die to ourselves and be like him. So in a small way, for example, I love chocolate donuts. I could wipe out a whole box, and when the box is done, I'll go looking for another box. It's like I don't have whatever it is that I'm supposed to have, temperance, to stop me. I just go. And being a part of this religion means that, yes, I can have a donut, but following Jesus Christ means dying to myself and not wiping out the whole box. And so this same idea is reflected, in people who, just have this devotion to being healthy. I guess we could call them health nuts, that they eat just healthy food all the time. They never eat a chocolate donut. They go to the gym. Why do they do that? Well, they recognize in that struggle with themselves that there's something good and beautiful in it. St. Francis rejected possessions to embrace poverty. It was his way of dying to himself to become Christ-like. And we see in society that other people who are not necessarily religious, they embrace minimalism because they see that there is something good about that. Now, these are small things, of course, and we can go up the ladder. The husband who's tired when he comes home from work and he wants to veg in the man cave watching football. But when his wife comes home and she's tired and she needs help with this or that, it's up to me to die to my desire to sit here watching football and go help her and serve her in things that, I can easily make an excuse. I can easily say, oh, it's a woman's job to do laundry or whatever dumb thing I can say to myself. But as a part of this religion, I can't say those things. I have to die to myself. I have to go out there and serve her. That's what he taught us. So this idea that we have these parts of ourselves, these selfish parts of ourselves, and we need to strip ourselves of the selfishness, it's the basis for our religion, that we, through our struggle with virtue and his grace, his supernatural grace, that we become more and more like him every single day. That's our religion. And for other people who do not believe in the dying to self, people who may think, okay, I'm going to join your organization and transform it into an image of myself, or an image, something else that I think it should be. I think you should be accepting of who I am as a person, so I'm going to join your organization and I'm going to change the terms of your organization so that instead of this being the focus, I'm the focus. And unfortunately, we've had a couple generations, maybe more, of people who have been doing that, and they've been changing the face of what this religion is all about, so that here in the year 2019, what I just explained, it's not really known by people who are Catholic. But if you walk into a Catholic church and you go sit in a pew and you look above the altar and you look upon the crucifix. Now, hopefully you're going to see a crucifix, because there's no telling what you're going to see. But hopefully there's a crucifix. Hopefully you can spend some time meditating on this concept of the dying to self, because that's what this religion is. Now, if you aren't interested in a religion in which you die to self, then this religion isn't for you. And nobody's feelings are going to get hurt. We would love for the whole world to come to this idea, to this concept, to this faith. But we can't force people to give up of their selfishness. That there's like a dichotomy there. You have to be willing to give up your selfishness. There's nothing about this that can be forced. So, no hard feelings, but if you try to infiltrate and redefine in your Grover shirt, then we're going to have a problem with that. Yes, it's true that Jesus did come and spend time with tax collectors and prostitutes and sinners. Yes, that's true. But the person who uses that as an excuse to water down the faith and make it something it's not supposed to be, they haven't read the rest of the Bible. They haven't finished in the book of Revelation. In the book of Revelation, we see those same individuals who have washed their robes in the blood of the Lamb and made them pure white. And now they've been raised to this glory in heaven where they can be with him and love him. That's the part of the story that never gets told. Now, I'd encourage you to read the book of Revelation and to check that out. At the heart of this faith is this God who is infinite and became small for us. He died on the cross for us and becomes our spiritual food. We are nourished through this small piece of food that nourishes our souls. Think about this. He was infinite and he became a man so he could die. He was infinite, he became this small baby. He was infinite, he became small bread. All for us. That's the model, that's the template, that's the faith. That's what's getting watered down. That's what's being hurt by the Grover shirt. So when newcomers, the next generation, people who are on the outskirts and aren't quite sure what Catholicism is, when they come into a church and they see these things, just like the new recruit at the animal rights meeting who sees the deer jerky, it's hypocritical. It looks ugly. It's not what it's supposed to be. You know, rabbits, ducks, I mean, they're beautiful creatures, and you know, this is ugly. That's all there is to it. Aaron, thank you for challenging us in the comments of all of these videos. I really appreciate all of your tough questions. I'm continuing to make videos on your questions, so look for more of them. You won the Apologetics Book Contest. Go to my YouTube page and send me an email so I can send you this book. I'm sending you this particular book intentionally because of some of the questions that you've asked, and I'm going to discuss it more, I think, in one of next week's videos. So look for that. I want to thank you, Aaron. I want to thank everybody else for watching this video, and we will see you in the next one.